Hi, everyone. Just gonna give it like a minute, make sure everybody gets in and situated.
It's so quiet. Somebody say hello.
Ben did. Ben always says hello.
Hi, Ben.
He greets everyone.
Hi, Michelle. And Ben is smiling. Okay.
This is what teaching during the pandemic was like. Everyone's cameras was off, everyone was quiet, and I'm over here like, hey.
Oh, I see T. I don't know why T Sherman, that name sounds familiar to me. Pedro, hi guys. What is it? Takia? I got it right.
All right. I guess we'll get started. I don't see anyone in the waiting room. Hello, everyone. Happy MLK Day. Thank you for joining us on our town hall, our 12th town hall. Let me introduce you to our lovely guest today that I had the pleasure of working with. This is Pia Torain. She's an associate software engineer at Optum Technologies Software Development Division. Her background is in biochemistry and molecular biology, and she has experience in robotics, clinical trials, and the pharmaceutical development industries. Pia took the non-traditional path to pursue her passion for software development, starting her journey in 2021 by joining the inaugural cohort of Reskill Americans in the front-end development track. She then progressed to another boot camp to gain the skills needed to become a full stack developer. She gained hands-on experience as an apprentice at CDEV before securing a fellowship with Hackbright Academy, all of which have led her to her current role as an associate software engineer at Optum Technologies Software Development Division. Pia is driven by her personal mantra, be deliberate, tenacious, and patient with yourself. And this has helped her navigate her non-traditional path and achieve success in the healthcare technology industry. Thank you, Pia. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. It's so great to see you and Alex again and to see all of the new students. And by the way, Lorraine, that was an absolutely great intro. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, guys. So like Lorraine said, my name is Pia, and I was a member of the inaugural cohort for Reskill Americans. And I was very green as a front-end developer student. Right, just prior to that, I was learning a little bit of Python on Udemy courses, and then free code camp, front end web development. And then right the night before, registration for Reskill Americans was scheduled to close on March 7th. I still remember that. The night before, someone sent the link to me and I thought it was fake. I literally thought it was fake. But I read it and then like 3 hours passed and I said, wait a minute, it's going to be midnight soon on the East Coast. So not sure even what time zone they were operating on. I submitted my registration, and then 2 days later was the first town hall and I was in it. And boy, oh boy, was there a lot of people and Slack was alive and well. And it was a great experience. It was such a great experience. And we worked our butts off trying to learn as much as we can. We had great mentors. The staff was great and very supportive, but the key thing is that you had to be willing to learn on your own as well. We had to not only, we were, okay, 15 hours a week is just an estimate. I would say I treated it like a full-time job, like working double. Like it's just, you just have to be ready to go and get it. So I did that. And along the way, I met great people like Alex and you, Lorraine. Lorraine is one of my go-to people. I'm still waiting for an opportunity to work with her again. She's such a great designer. And Alex can build any back end that you want and front end as well. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity to do something, a side project with both of them. So we went through Reskill and it had its challenges being the first cohort. We had to all really learn to get to know one another and build trust because we were put into teams during the second phase of the program. We were put into pretty much project development teams, and we had to trust each other, trust that each of us were going to do our part. And that didn't always work out so well. So I ended up learning much more because of not having other team members be present. I'll just put it as that. I had to learn much more and do other things as well. And that worked out well. Our program was 7 months long at the time. I'm not sure. How long is it now, Lorraine?
It's still 7 months. We did have
Okay.
a couple moments of, catch up periods and stuff like that. But overall, the learning time is 7 months, even though the program itself might be closer to 8.
Okay. Okay. So during that time, guys, I'm not sure right now, but during RA, we had a little bit of React, and we didn't learn that much about CSS framework. So as the program progressed, I started doing side projects to help myself, and of course, sharing it with my peers and getting getting what they thought about it. And I knew that by the end of the program that I just felt that I wasn't prepared. I know Lorraine will have a different opinion. We always differ on this, but I felt that I wasn't prepared to apply anywhere. I didn't feel like I knew enough to apply. And my mentors was like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Lorraine's like, you're going to get a job. You're going to get a job. But I didn't believe it. So I found a program that was inexpensive. I went to another boot camp where I focused on full stack web development, where I learned, again, HTML, CSS. That came easy. Got really solid, even more solid with JavaScript. But the key thing was for me learning React and learning React Native, and then learning Node.js and Express and a database MongoDB. And that is when I finished that, I went right into, I think I had a month break between Reskill and the next program. And then I went right into that, and that was four and a half months long, 5 months, finished in April of 2021. I'm sorry, was it April? I don't even know what year we're on, Lorraine, because everything's gone so fast. It was
It's
April of
22.
2022.
Mhm.
And the only reason I held off of applying was because I wanted to have my portfolio website looking really crisp. So I I waited 2 weeks, finished that up, and then I started applying, and I was deliberate with my applications. That's the one thing I want to share with you guys. I know sometimes you hear send out 100, fill out 100, 200. No, 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 no. Be very deliberate in where you may want to work. If you know that this is not a place where you would want to work, or you know that you don't have maybe 60% of those skills, just don't set yourself up to where you would have to go into an interview and have a coding test that's gonna kill you, and you're like, just be deliberate. First research the company and see if you want to work there. So I think I only filled out maybe 10 applications. I think by number 6, I got a call back, and it was for a company called CDev. It was a startup. It was with a Python framework, a Python framework that would actually, it would help, a serverless framework would help hosting websites on. So that was an experience. 2 weeks after the first week, it was like the wild, wild west, because startups, everyone's wearing every hat there is to wear. We're coding, we're developing. I was doing Python, I was doing JavaScript, I was using React, I was using different technologies that I didn't learn that I had no idea how to use before. It was great, but at the same time, just prior to me getting that position, someone that you guys met already named Emmy Lee, another member of our inaugural cohort, she reached out to me because she had gotten her dream job. And it was through a organization that pretty much works with companies to sponsor future developers and engineers. And if you go through their process, they will likely hire you, and they may not, but more emphasis on likely. So she reached out to me and she said, hey, Pia, you should do this. And I'm like, no, I don't know. She was like, yeah, you should do this. But the issue was that I was a PC person. I'm not a Mac girl. Well, I am now, but at the time I was a PC person. So it was for iOS developer and mainly mobile using Swift. So I got in touch. I passed all the criteria, but then I saw a little fine print and said must have Mac. And I said, uh-oh. So I reached out to the recruiter and I said, look, I can't do this. I don't have a Mac. They were like, rent one, please. And I said, I can't rent one and get up to speed within 2 weeks and be ready to go. I can't, I need more time. Again, not thinking that I can do it, but not sharing that. And I told myself, I said, wow, this was a great opportunity. But I told them, I said, can you remove me from the consideration? And they did. But I also said, can you keep me in mind for future opportunities? And even though I said that, I didn't think they would, and they did. So I was a month into my apprenticeship at CDEV, very, crazy company, having a lot of fun, doing a lot of great things. But at the same time, there's some things that happen that you just don't want to have to. There was a negative aspect to it. And when the recruiter reached out to me again and said, we have this coming up, would you like to apply to this? I was like, yes. I knew that I wasn't going to let that opportunity pass me by again. So I put in my notice once I got accepted into that program, and it was actually a fellowship with Hackbright Academy, and it was sponsored by the company that I now work with, Optum Technology. And it was Java. The whole program was based on Java. So it was like, wow. It was like you're dealing with Java versus JavaScript. I know you guys are gonna hear, if you haven't heard, your instructors say that JavaScript is loosely typed, and meaning that some things you can get away. You don't have to always use strict on line number one. You don't have to always put that. Java is your very rich, elegant aunt that comes into town. It's just really rich and strict and rigid. And she doesn't want you to put your feet up on the coffee table compared to JavaScript. And
JavaScript is the cool uncle that comes over and you just have fun with.
yes, that's Uncle Buck. He lets you do whatever. He's letting you do whatever. That's JavaScript compared to Java. And so I went through that program. And the great part about it is that with the particular company that's sponsoring you, they give you a mentor with that company. And it was amazing. It was flat out amazing, the experience that I had. And lo and behold, my mentor to this day is still my mentor and now my manager at that company. So, and I finished that company that fellowship finished in November, and they started the hiring process and the interview process and the background checks, everything that, all of it. It was much more complex actually getting to the first day. And my first day was just 2 weeks ago. So I'm here and it's great. It's crazy. And Lorraine will tell you that I'm a workaholic that needs to learn how to, even Alex will tell you, learns to learn how to just breathe a little and just really just put my feet up a little bit and say, okay, you're there now. It's okay. You can breathe a little. So that's my experience. It's not traditional, like many of you, is not traditional at all. And it's very unique in a sense, but your experience is going to be yours and it is unique to you. So what may be good for one person may not be good for the next, but I encourage you all to just, I don't know, be deliberate. Just be deliberate in what you're doing. Make sure, just because you're two people away from you are doing Java and you may not want to do Java, you just are on JavaScript, then become a JavaScript master. Just be a JavaScript, just build, 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 and build. They're not, it's not necessarily that they want you to know Java or know Kotlin or know a certain language all the time, a specific language. They want to know if you have the ability to learn. Do you have the ability to problem solve? Are you going to, communicate? Communication probably comes first, because the time it may take you to, you're stuck on 3 lines of code that are killing your whole program. Do you wait 20 minutes to ask for help, or do you wait 2 hours? That matters. That matters. When you ask, and, holding up the process is an issue. So communication and understanding that you will not go into any company knowing everything you're supposed to know. They just want you to have a baseline skill set, because once you start there, you will be taught the way that this company or that company handles their business. And I think that's the best advice that I can give you, is to keep working, keep building, and know how to seek help, know how to use Google, literally know how to use Google. Be deliberate, be tenacious in that. Okay, if you know you can build HTML, CSS project, you're a little afraid of React, go right ahead and try to build one. You're going to struggle with the first one. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be crazy, but build it and then build another one. Then are you ready for another language? Because you're never going to know, even though you may cover HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you may even do Bootstrap, you may do React. You're never going to know every single thing. I still have to look stuff up. I know Alex still looks stuff up. You got to be deliberate in how you're doing it. So make sure you be that and tenacious, that you be your own best advocate and teach yourself as well. And then be patient. You can't learn this stuff overnight. I know there's some advertisements for some places that say that you can be hired after 3 months of boot camp. Maybe, maybe that works, but it is not ideal. It's not the norm. It's great for people that get hired that way, but it's not the norm. So just be very tenacious and patient with yourself. And also networking. I don't like to use that word, but I'm using it because that's what we're all used to. I would say this, like, Lorraine is a part of my network, but I don't use the word network. Alex is. We don't if you can reach out to someone, if you have someone that you can reach out to that just so happens they know tech, but if you could reach out to them and say, oh my gosh, you know what, my coworker got on my nerves. That's part of your network, not someone that you're just going to for tech issues. Your network should be some people that are not just, what can they do for you? How about reciprocal relationships? That as well too. You build, the 3 of us didn't set out to build anything as a network with each other or with Emmy or with Jasmine. We didn't set out to do any of that. It just happened because we were just nice. We just liked each other. We just talked about any and everything. We just worked well together. And now we have a network that includes some of the mentors, some of the leadership that may still or may not still be with RA. This is what we have. And and it was never a goal to sit there and say, I'm going to connect with 50 people today. No, my goal every day is that whoever I speak to has my undivided attention at that time. That's my goal. If it's 30 people, then it's 30 people. I hope not, because I probably I would pass out if I had to talk to 30 people in one day. But be genuine when you approach people. Be genuine when you're building your network. If you're trying to deliberately build a network or just get to know people, or even just be honest about it, say, hey, I'm just reaching out to ask for some help. This is where I am. This is what I'm trying to do. That's fine too. Genuine and honesty goes a long way. Okay, so we do have some questions, right, Alex and Lorraine?
I was just gonna tag along on what you were talking about with the network thing. I love what you said about networking. I for some reason, the term networking has a negative connotation to me. I don't like the word. I think I prefer building relationships.
Yeah.
And I was a musician before I became a developer, and networking is huge in that as well. And I didn't network in that arena either. I just focused on building genuine relationships. And I never asked for a gig, I never asked for work, but through those relationships, I got so many amazing opportunities. And some people, you know, a lot of those people are lifelong friends, people that were in my wedding and whatnot. So yeah, I think focusing on building relationships is key, not just trying to seek out people that can do something for you, but really focusing on those relationships. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to piggyback off of that as well. I mean, I couldn't say it better. Pia was a person during the cohort, Pia, Alex, I think myself as well. Every time we would just come across any material or resources, as I see many of you guys doing, you know, we would just post it on Slack. Once we got to the portion where it was like portfolios and working on that stuff, I remember just reaching out to people and, hey, I happen to see you're missing a period here. And that kind of would spark a conversation. And, you know, we would check each other's work, test our websites out. One thing, Pia's a little too humble. She just used the word workaholic, but just to give you a little more insight of her journey, at least through Reskill, through my eyes, she was at every meeting that we would have. We would have stand-up meetings during our projects, our team projects. She didn't miss them. She was at the office hours. She was at the one-on-one calls. She was messaging tutors. She was messaging the team. She was working, you know, like she said, the 15 hours maybe in the beginning, the 15 hours is a little more accurate, but definitely became more during as the program progressed. And I know, like, she would just have messages from me at all hours of the night and vice versa. We would just get back to each other. We would be leaving messages, and, you know, we were all new. Like, I was designing on Figma. She was looking at Figma, and I'm seeing those conversations happening right now. I think we were at a point where the designers were, the full stack people were given the designers work to look at. So a lot of those questions are, hey, how do I get the assets? Where do I find this? And I remember just leaving a message like, guys, ask me anything because I don't know either, you know, and that opened up a lot of us talking to each other and working together. So Pia was there like all the time, learning, asking for help. So it was just, she was definitely doing her hours and then some, as far as, and many people were. And I think those are what leads to a lot of people end up getting these jobs and moving on, or apprenticeships, fellowships. It's way more than the 15 hours that are there. All right, let me get to a question. I saw a good question here. Oh, projects. So I do see a lot of our participants talk about projects. Sometimes, you know, there is a little wait period or there's an extension time. And so people want to be busy and, you know, continue their learning, and they do side projects. And you mentioned that you did some side stuff. So any favorite projects that you did while you were learning?
I would have to say the JavaScript algorithms, like that one with all those colors. See, guys, see, I know the name of it is just the name of it is like, but I'm, you know, first and foremost, the front end is where my playground is. I love to make beautiful, aesthetically pleasing, and, you know, accessible front ends. And that one to me was the hardest, because that's where I really learned so much about JavaScript, so much there. And that one really, I mean, that one, it's actually aesthetically pleasing to me. It may not be to you all, but that one to me is my all-time favorite. And I'm actually considering making it into a React application, and it would be so much less code, because it was literally not dry code at all. A lot of repetitive code, but it was really that one was probably my favorite one.
So JavaScript algorithms, is that what you said?
Yes, JavaScript algos. It's on my portfolio website. It's in the projects, and I think it is. I think they can view it on GitHub. I'm not sure.
Oh, if you don't mind, I will share your links with our
Oh,
participants.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
You guys can connect with me, ask me questions, do whatever you like. I think there was a question about LinkedIn on there.
Yeah,
so
there
I guess,
is.
yeah.
Somebody asked, did you use LinkedIn to expand your network?
I would say, okay, how can I put this? I would say I have a lot of connections on LinkedIn, but I didn't necessarily use it to expand my network. There are, oh my gosh, there are about 20, maybe 20 to 25 individuals on there that have such great content in relation to what I and what we all do. But it's not just, it's as building you up as a whole, you know, in your field and then as a person as well. So I have not, my connections came through opportunities like this, like talking with my peers, and because you all are my peers. So talking with my peers, and then getting to know other people that, you know, may like, if you join JavaScript, you know, JavaScript developers on LinkedIn, and getting to, and then realizing that you all may know each other some form of fashion, you know, think like that, but definitely not. But I would say LinkedIn has a lot of, I would say there's some great content creators that have information to help every one of us. Even, you know, I even still go to them, and I'm probably going to make a post about them. So don't be surprised if you guys' names end up on there, Lorraine and Alex. Don't be surprised.
That's great. I actually had a question. What was your first language? Was it JavaScript?
Oh, I'm going to date myself a little bit. My first language was COBOL.
Wow.
And yeah, and I have to count it because I did write hello and write a line of code, and it worked. And then I read a little bit on Fortran, but when I first started taking this seriously, which was 2 years ago, January 2 years ago, yeah, 2 years ago, it would have to be Python. Python was my first language, but JavaScript became my love language. I really, really, really love that loosely hippie type of JavaScript, you know. But now I am, you know, being a software engineer, you got to know how to do or have the capacity to learn so much more. So JavaScript is my first love, but Python, I would say when I started taking it seriously, was the first thing I started learning.
Wow, Cobalt. Like, there's so few developers for that language right now that they make pretty good money for being a Cobalt developer. So I might want
Yeah.
to look back into getting
Yeah,
into
like
Cobalt.
quick side story now. I moved from New Jersey in the middle of the pandemic, in the worst of it, August 2020. I drove across the country, moved from New Jersey to Nevada. But prior to leaving New Jersey, the unemployment system was horrible. And it was because it was coded in COBOL. And the governor literally put out you know, he sent out the SOS. They needed COBOL developers to help get this, to handle the influx of people applying for unemployment. It was crazy. And I was like, I can't even remember a tiny 1% of it. But that I do remember that there are a lot of legacy systems that use COBOL and that are they're trying to bring them up to date with either Java or JavaScript and Python. But yeah, the COBOL developers are now, they're like the big wigs. They're the
Yeah,
big wigs.
and because it's so expensive to transition all that infrastructure into a new language, and I think that's why they've been around for so long. But as a beginner, you hear a lot. You hear people say a lot like, once you learn your first language, it's much easier to learn your second and your third language. But when you're first learning, that first language is just so daunting. You can't even fathom being able to, learn other languages in the future. How was that for you? Learning Python and
Honestly,
then doing all these other languages that you do.
when we were in our cohort together at RA, when we got to JavaScript, there was between me and I think Sydney. I don't know if Sydney is still with the program, but Sydney was the mentor for JavaScript. And it was hilarious because I couldn't get this code right. It was simple. It was like a sum all function. And it was because I was writing it in Python, and it was, we were doing JavaScript. So it is not easy to do at all. and then the backend Python became available to me on my, on the dashboard, on the LMS. And I was like, well, let me do these. And I did those too. So I created more of a problem for myself. I kept writing the syntax in JavaScript. I mean, the syntax for JavaScript, instead of doing it that way, I was writing Python and not realizing it. So I had to make a choice. And then Java, as soon as I was able to manipulate the DOM once, I was hooked.
Yeah, JavaScript is very visual in that you can make things move and disappear and do all kinds of interesting things with JavaScript. But now, I've seen work, with Python, with JavaScript, and now Java. So would you say that once you really understood the fundamentals of programming, just in general, that it allowed you to then pick up other technologies and other languages much easier?
Yes, absolutely. Because although they're all written differently, they all are written differently, and you have some that are strongly typed or loosely typed, and then some are, and once you get the basics of object-oriented programming, it's pretty much the same for each language. Again, it'll just be the syntax, the little things with the syntax. And then of all of them, I mean, we know Java is the parent of JavaScript. And having learned JavaScript first and then going to Java, my head was spinning. I was so like, as much, it's like Java. I know I don't want JavaScript to be mad at me, but that knockoff purse that is a knockoff and you love it. That's JavaScript. And Java's the real deal.
That's great.
There's so many, and right now I'm learning TypeScript. And I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, TypeScript is even worse when it comes to being like Java. It's so much more. And you'll see all the connections, and these light bulbs start going off and these aha moments. And it's just like, you may not know it exactly, but you can do it. You guys are going to get to that point where it's like, oh, I'm not afraid to try to learn this. I just know I'm going to just have to look things up and, dig in deep and ask for help, and then build one project with it, build maybe two, write some code, and then, okay, yeah, I know enough for an employer to teach me the rest.
Yeah, that's great. I think, like you said, all the languages, at the end of the day, they all have loops, they all have conditional,
Right,
they all
exactly.
have the basic programming things. So I think in the beginning, don't worry about all these languages, because people are going to tell you, learn Python, no, learn JavaScript, no, you need to learn TypeScript. Just stick to one thing, get the basics down, and then when the time comes, if you need to learn something else, it'll be easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's great. I also wanted to know, like, what do you do at Optum? I know that you're a full stack developer, but what do you primarily do there?
Right now, I'm primarily learning.
Yeah,
I am
seems you just
learning.
started.
Yeah, I am. I mean, we were onboarding, and we're pretty much learning and preparing for our first project. Details of that I can't share. But yeah, because it's a healthcare technology company, everything it does supports the healthcare system, and the parent of that is the United Healthcare. So Optum does everything that you can go to the UHG website, and all of that is Optum. And then just think about dealing with getting people healthcare, with all the things that are required to get folks healthcare, and in some cases even getting them transportation. Optum is on it when it comes to providing the services for UHG's members and getting those solutions. And that's another thing. Guys, you got to decide what part of the system you want to be in on. Do you want to be the part of the system, software engineering, that creates stuff just because you can, or create stuff because it solves a problem? So you got to decide that. I'm not going to decide it for you, but you decide that for yourselves. But I knew that I want to be on the right side of history when it comes to, solving human problems. And that's what we do at Optum pretty much for United Healthcare.
That's great. And you don't have to go into detail. We don't need you to break any NDAs or anything. But are you are you mostly going to be focusing on front end, back end,
Oh,
the whole
it's
stack?
going to
Like,
be some of everything. Right
gotcha.
now, I am primarily the first, our first project has several different arms to it. So right now, the beginning of it is primarily we're going to be working on the front end aspect. And then there's other aspects of it. Then eventually we will be moving to the back end. I think that will come, that'll be the third, maybe the third phase of it. But yeah, and my team, my group, the team that I'm working with came from the fellowship with me. So we're all in it together. We know each other. And um, one of the things that's great is that we are a team of X factors, where you know that, okay, if this one doesn't know it, this one knows how to find it. So it's really great. But yeah, right now it's front end, and it's more of not even actually doing some coding, but more the research aspect first, and contributing and participating in meetings and Scrum meetings and things like that throughout the day. But yeah, it's a great experience. And it's interesting because it feels like a boot camp all over again. It's just different. It's a different environment. You don't have to break your neck. They know who you are. They know you. They hired you. They trust you. So it's like being in a boot camp because we have to learn. We can't keep coding the same thing over and over again. You have to learn the new stuff. So but it's really fun. Really cool people. I feel so blessed to be
That's
in
amazing. Yeah.
to be with
So
the group that I'm with.
speaking of the X factor that you just mentioned, somebody had a question. What is your success factor to get all these amazing opportunities that you have?
I don't think I really, wow, to get
Don't be
these
humble, Pia.
opportunities.
Don't be humble, please.
I
Because if not, we're going to answer the question for you.
Yeah, I have an answer already.
I think it's just me being genuine. Honestly, the main thing is being genuine, understanding that I do not know everything, that I do not know everything at all, and just being genuine. I've had people reach out to me, employers and recruiters on LinkedIn, that just want to, have a conversation, that just want to say hi. They're hitting my website like, hi, how are you doing today? And that's the best part, because even if you want something from me, if it's obvious to me, then you're probably not going to get it. Just be genuine. And I think that's it. And also, I work hard. I know that I do. I've worked hard, and I'm right now, these days, I'm having the hardest time realizing that I don't have to keep going 100 all the time, that I'm here now. I'm there now. I trusted the process, and that trust, there was a great reward at the end of it. And I'm here now, and it's hard for me to accept that. Like, I feel like I got to keep working. Once we're done for the day, I feel like I got to open up and keep working again. And they're like, don't you do that. We want you well and rested. So, and also that's something to look for in an employer too. They don't want you on the clock 24 hours a day.
Yeah, life work balance is huge.
Yes,
I have a friend
exactly.
who works for I will not name, but a big company, a big fan company. And yeah, he's having the complete opposite situation where he's there 8 in the morning, doesn't get home till 11 at night. And
Oh,
it's just not a good
Wow.
work-life balance. It's just not worth it. Um, before we move away from Optimum, too far away from, somebody had a question. They said, are they giving you a fixed amount of time to onboard? Or how's that working?
Um, I would say yes, yes, because there are a lot of aspects to the project that, if when you get a project, it's brand new for everyone. So we're all are contributing to looking and researching different technologies that can be used or may not be used, and explaining why it shouldn't be used. And we all get the opportunity to speak. So yeah, they actually do give us a lot of time to learn. You just say, hey, today this is what I'm doing, and like, oh, okay. But then you also have a team of people that are on the same level as you are, that it may be someone learning something different, and you guys can come together, just jump in a chat, jump in a call, come together, share the screen, and learn from each other. And that environment is a wonderful, wonderful environment that's so conducive to us learning together, us sharing information, and just pretty much being well and being healthy and being, complete and happy. They really not only care about, you know, members who are, the people that we're solving the problems for, they care about internal people too as well. So they do actually give us amount of time. We have a lot of time to learn, and also they have a lot of different platforms available to us to learn actually the business side of things, like effective communication and things like that we have access to.
That sounds great. It sounds like I'm so happy for you, and I'm happy that you found this place that, just values, like Alex said, the work-life balance, and maybe forcing you to take a little time off as well. I know you just started 2 weeks ago, but are there designers on the team? Do you work with designers? Will you be working with?
The designers, let's see. So our team is pretty large. It is large overall. And then there are small pockets on the team. So right now we have a front end master that can do everything. So that's really good. He can do it all. And so we will have the opportunity to work with him. And actually, I have been talking a lot with him. Lorraine, sorry, I didn't mean to cheat on you. But yeah, I have been. Yeah, you do have it. It's a complete, the thing you get with larger company is that everybody, you have to still have you have the opportunity to learn everything. And then you have the opportunity to learn to work in your specialized area. And with this particular team, we're going to be doing everything, which is really, really good. Everything that's assigned to our team. So that's really good. But yeah, we do get to work with the front end. Our front end director can do designing as well. So that's great.
Yeah, there's usually some crossover too with design front end. I mean, even you yourself, I remember you were learning the Figma and, doing that whole process yourself.
Yeah, it's so difficult to try to build something without a design. Oh my gosh, guys, this is why Lorraine spoiled me, by the way, spoiled me rotten, because her work was so crisp and so clean for our project that we did. And then after that, I had standards when it comes to designs. And I was like, oh gosh, oh no, this is horrible. This design is hard. But it was because she spoiled us, she's that good. And I just, even for me, it takes me, I can't do what Lorraine does with Figma, but I could do enough to help lay out my ideas. But then I'll feel like I could have been coding that. But then if I jump into coding first, then it takes you a week to really figure out what your layout is going to be. So it's just, for me, I'm just like, wow, goodness, I just can't decide. So I'll just, for now, I can read the designs. I can make a lo-fi design, but yeah, that's something I probably got to work on. And yeah, I miss Lorraine.
Designers don't get enough credit, that's for sure.
So Pia, real quick right now, because right now I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have access to the coursework, but I think I saw a bunch of messages on Slack where the designer, the full stack was given the design assignments, and I guess they're going to have to start trying to build them. Please, anybody correct me if I'm wrong on that. Any advice for the initial looking at Figma and how to even get that started?
Okay, so I would tell you guys to make sure, if you are in touch with some of the design students, grab one and jump on a call just to get yourself started. And the quicker you start the process of actually doing that assignment, the better, because once you get started with it, you're going to actually you're going to get hooked there. You're going to stay there and be hooked a bit, like, oh, I can do this. I can make this. So I would say grab one of the design students and see if they want to jump on a call with you just to get you up and running, and see if they're available for any questions later that you may have. Maybe you can DM them on Slack, and then just start on that as early as you can. Because I had to tell you, I had to design a restaurant site, and I literally had to do it in maybe 2 days. And because I'm so particular, I was up all night into the next day. And then, I had to stop and then start all over again and do it, add some more to it, because I am very particular. I am very particular. So yeah, if you're like me that likes everything to be a certain way, can be very obsessive about it, start on it early, and make sure you hit all the requirements. If they're asking you to hit that, it should have like one lo-fi design, one hi-fi design, and have one style guide. Make sure you hit those before you start customizing things and changing things, because you want it to be, you want to up the ante a bit, but hit all the requirements first.
Thank you for that information for the design team.
Yes, I am fully remote. I saw that question there. I am fully remote.
How much time would you say I know you said you had some experience in the past with coding, but let's say starting from Reskill, day one of Reskill, which was March 2021, right? That's
yes,
correct?
March 7th. Okay. Yeah, I'm weird. I got a weird memory, guys. Very weird memory. March 7th. Yeah.
Okay. So from March 7th, 2021, up until the day you started your apprenticeship, how much time would you say passed?
Okay. So March 7th to October 23rd, and then November 29th to May 5th. And then May 31st, I was working at the apprenticeship. So maybe a year, maybe 14 months, I believe.
Yeah,
about 14 months.
Mm-hmm. All right. So all those dates, March to October was Reskill, is what she was telling you. November to May was her other boot camp.
Was right.
Okay. And then May 31st.
May 31st to the end of my fellowship started June 25th of 2022. So it was, it was almost 2 months there at the at CDEV, the apprenticeship. And it was a paid apprenticeship, guys. That's something to keep in mind too. You can get paid, and it was very well paid too for apprenticeship, but I wanted more. I just needed a certain balance. I need a little more. I can't be on a rock and roll roller coaster ride all the time. And that sometimes you'll get that with a startup.
Very good. All right, let me look at any other questions that we may have. We are fully remote. All right, no, I think I'm definitely going to share Pia's information. Oh, how was your apprenticeship? How did you find your apprenticeship? Because it was the fellowship that you got with Emmy, right?
Right.
Or through talking with Emmy. So your apprenticeship, was that just you applying, or?
Well, what happened was the founder of that company, he went to all of all boot camps he could find, and he just posted, he sent it to if they had a Slack channel that was for job opportunities, he reached out to their leadership, and they would post it. They posted it. And so I looked at it 3 times and ignored it. And then the third time is when I said, okay, let me try it, because it did have a list of skills that I didn't have, that I didn't feel I was qualified for. But what it was, he was looking for more than one person. So he wanted a front end person. He wanted it with the, that wanted to learn more, learn the back end. He wanted back end people that wanted to learn the front end. So once I read it the third time, I said, okay, let me try, But yeah, I didn't find it on LinkedIn at all. I really Yeah, I haven't really used LinkedIn that much to find a job. I have not.
Okay.
I was just curious about like some of the interview processes that you've been through, um, you know, with Optum and some of the other things that you've had to interview. Can you talk about that a little bit? How to prepare? What helped you?
There's a theme. I'm gonna say first, be genuine. Be genuine. And if you have any projects out there, any project, anything that you're building, be able to explain it. If you have a GitHub, you know, make sure your GitHub is in order, it's not a mess. Your profile and your projects. Make sure you have readmes, because what I found, I did not have to take not one code assessment for the apprenticeship. I just had to speak on my projects and what I liked about them and what I would change about it. And then after I finished, I graduated the fellowship, and we were in our interview phase. Again, I had to record my whole interview of my final project, and I had to explain what I was doing, and my decision making, and show the code on the screen. And that's that. And it did help that my mentor was my man, she hired me, so that helped. But yeah, it really, you just know your stuff. If you know that you're weak at, let's say, if you don't know React but you know JavaScript, then talk about JavaScript and be clear and be honest that I don't know React, but I'm a little shaky on it, but I would love to know more. This is what I'm planning to do. Because even if they don't hire you or not, whether they hire you or not, you still are a developer with or without that company. You still have a responsibility to yourself to still enhance yourself, leverage your skills, keep learning, keep learning, and make sure you're able to explain your code. And also, one thing that I forgot, be prepared to be on camera, guys. You know, what I've been in different groups of people, a lot of groups of people, and people are generally not are afraid to talk, to speak on camera. And it's okay. We have different anxieties, but use this opportunity that you have in your groups, in your settings. And when you're talking to people now with Reskill, get on camera, adjust to sharing your screen. These are things we did. We didn't have a problem doing these. I don't know, because we just knew. We were at that point. We just know we got to do it. Yep, my heart is racing. It's pounding. Why? And then it goes away. You get so comfortable with sharing your screen and explaining your code. And also, don't be afraid if someone say, "Oh, wait, can you if you change this, then this is it's okay." Yeah, thanks. I needed that. Don't get upset. Just share and learn from each other, because there's always going to be somebody that either knows more than you or know less than you. You're not going to be the smartest person in the room. And that's great, because it would be a very boring place if we all were always the smartest person in the room. So just, be be deliberate about your applications. Be deliberate. Make sure it's something that you would want to do, you would not mind doing. And then, is there an industry that you would not like to work in? Okay, don't get mad at me, but I do not want to work for a FANG. That's all I'm gonna say. I do not want to work for a FANG. And it's not even FANG anymore. Is it MANG? With an M. I
Yeah,
I
Meta.
I actually have worked for one of those acronyms way back when. And that's when I really realized that that company was not just a packaging company. It really is a giant tech company. And I wasn't uh slinging boxes or anything. I literally was running a control center with all these screens and computers that I had to make sure that everything was running, so that we can get going for the day and get that TPH up. You had to do the productivity every 15 minutes and announce those numbers. And that's what I was doing. And I just know that I don't want to work. I want to work for a company. The company I work for is large. It is very large. It is really large. but they, I want to work with people that care, I want to, that's all I can say. I don't want to bash a Mang, but I probably already did. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million other companies other than Fang, and I know a lot of developers look at that as like the holy grail, but there's so many great companies that are also quite large, that would be amazing to work with, that have great work-life balance, great work culture, and some of these man companies do have that too. But
yeah,
I tend to agree with you a little bit on that.
Well, you and I had an experience over the summer, and we were both like, yes, we glad we didn't get in there.
Oh, yes. That's right.
You were like, we're glad. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. A few of those experiences.
Yes. So you guys are gonna have to figure out what it is, what it is you're looking for, what it is you want to specialize in. And then, what do you want to contribute to? I know that some people may not think of it this way, but I tend to care about what I put out there in the world, even when I'm speaking, either when I'm, engaging with someone, when I'm working, and when I'm coding. So I don't want to code anything, just because it can be made doesn't always mean it should be made. So think about that stuff, think about that stuff, and think about people. Look, if you have children, look at your kids, look in their eyes. You're going to learn a whole lot just looking in their eyes about how you want to handle your role in their future, like your role in paving a way for them as far as what you contribute to society, things that because software developers are brilliant, no matter what level you are at, you are brilliant. You have the ability to change lives, and just think of it that way. Think of how, just because it can be done doesn't always mean it should be done. And I think everybody can relate to that over the last 30 years in our history, that everything that can be coded or created didn't always need to be. And that some things have had a very disastrous effect on our well-being. So keep that in mind.
All right, Pia, thank you so much. Our time is coming to an end. I want to thank you for, talking with us and giving us your story and some inspiration on working hard and speaking up and doing the right thing, being deliberate, being kind to yourself. So I really do appreciate you. Alex, I appreciate you as well. And I want to thank you for always asking the questions that I know I cannot ask. So I thank you so much for being a part of these town halls with me. Thank you, everyone. I will post on Slack Pia's information. That way you could check out her GitHub, which is really pretty. I've been on GitHub, and to me, mine is just plain. Hers is really pretty, pictures and emojis, so it's really nice. And there you can see her projects and her work. I'll also link you to her LinkedIn so you guys can connect with her. Quick question, previous background, robotics and bio, does that help you with your tech career?
I would say yes, because I'm generally very analytical. So biochemistry and molecular biology, I'm using the scientific method all the time. And I have to say, overall, every step in this journey, I've taken something from each industry. So like, for instance, working for a FANG, I learned Lean and Six Sigma and process management. I use that every day. I use that every single day. So, and then working in clinical trials, again, that helped me written communication, writing things, because even at when I was an apprentice, I literally had to write a lot for the website. I had to do a lot of technical writing for the website. So those things, yeah. And also catching, even though Lorraine's always caught my errors, it's always good to have a second set of eyes, guys, because you can stare at an error or a typo for hours and not see it. You get a fresh set of eyes and they will find it for you. So again, a lot of Q&A stuff with being in clinical trials has helped me be able to look at someone's code and find the error in it really quickly, but also helped me be open to having someone else look at mine as well. So everything that I've done leading up to this point has helped me become the developer and the person, honestly, more so than anything, the person that I am. And it has been rough, but I wouldn't change a bit of it. I would not change a bit of it because it's all the recipe that is Pia.
A delicious recipe Pia is. All right. Thank you so much again. Thank you for answering that last minute question. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. I will keep you updated on Pia's info on Slack. Have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Thank you.